Captain Mara Holt stood inside the command deck of the Horizon Reach, staring at the repeating alert on the main screen. A small human research post, Deep Outpost 7, had sent a final message only minutes ago. The message was short, broken, and full of fear. Only 4 words were clear. They are gone, all gone. Then silence. No more signals. No more life signs. No more anything. The outpost sat on the far border of known space, close to the Varix Dominion, an alien empire known for its pride, its harsh rule, and its history of war. Humans did not trust the Varix. The Varix did not trust humans. Still, the border remained quiet for years, until now. Mara watched the final message again. She replayed it for the 3rd time. Static, rattling audio, a dim figure in the background. She could not see who sent it. She could only hear that voice. Tired. Broken. Almost whispering. They are gone, all gone. The crew waited for Mara to speak. No one dared to break the quiet on the command deck. Even the hum of the ship seemed softer than normal, like the whole vessel held its breath. Finally, Mara turned to her officers. Set course for Outpost 7, she said. Full burn. Lieutenant Cass, a young officer with fast hands and a worried face, tapped the controls. Aye, Captain. Estimated arrival, 40 minutes. Mara nodded but did not relax. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. Deep inside her chest, a cold weight formed, heavy and sharp. The Horizon Reach reached the outpost on time. But when they arrived, the sight in front of them made the crew fall silent again. The research station floated alone in empty space. No lights. No signals. No damage either. It looked untouched. But it felt dead. Scanning, Cass said quietly. No life signs. No power. No atmosphere inside. No atmosphere. Engineer Rhea frowned. That should take a breach. But I'm reading no breach. Mara narrowed her eyes. Meaning the air is gone, but the walls were never opened. Exactly, Captain. That cold weight in Mara's chest grew. Bring us in, she ordered. The boarding team stepped into the outpost's main hall. Mara led from the front, her suit lights cutting through the darkness. Dust floated in frozen air, unmoving, like the space had forgotten how time worked. Everything looked normal at first. Computers were still in place. Chairs stayed where the crew left them. A half-eaten meal floated near a table, stiff and dry. A datapad blinked once, then died forever. But there were no people. No bodies. No blood. No sign of escape. Just emptiness. Lieutenant Cass whispered, "It's like they all stood up and walked into space." No, Mara said softly. It's like they were never here. They searched room after room. Labs. Sleeping chambers. Storage bays. The silence grew heavier with each step. Then they reached the communications room. Something marked the walls. Long scorch lines. Thin, sharp grooves in the metal, almost like claws but stretched, too long, too smooth. Like something had sliced along reality itself. Rhea leaned close. These aren't burns. This looks like the metal was pulled apart. By what? Cass asked. No one answered. Mara stepped toward the central console. She found a final recorded entry, hidden behind several corrupted files. She pressed play. The screen flickered. A face appeared, Dr. Heron, the lead scientist of the outpost. His eyes were wide. His suit was torn at the shoulder. Sparks flew behind him. They are gone, he said. All gone. Not killed. Just erased. He pulled the camera close. And it's coming here next. The video ended. Cass swallowed hard. Erased? Captain, that. A sharp beep cut him off. Rhea checked her wrist display. Captain. I'm picking up unusual energy marks. Not from humans. Varex's origin. And they're fresh. Mara tightened her grip on her sidearm. The Varex were here. Maybe recently. Maybe very recently. And what did they run from? Cass murmured. The silence answered him. Mara ordered the team deeper into the station. They walked down the main research wing, their lights sweeping across empty labs. More scorch lines ran along the walls. Some places looked melted, not by heat, but by something that shifted the metal like soft clay. Then a faint sound reached them. A soft breath. Mara raised a hand. Stop. Listen. Another breath. Then a small cough. Something was alive. The team moved toward a storage room at the end of the corridor. Mara opened the door carefully. Inside, curled up behind crates, was a child. A Varex child. Thin. Weak. Shaking. His skin, normally dark bronze, looked pale and cracked. His large eyes stared at Mara with fear, and something else. A sadness too heavy for a child. Cass whispered, "Oh stars." The child tried to speak, but only a hoarse whisper came out. They woke it. Mara knelt slowly. Who woke what? Who are you? The child shook his head, tears forming. The Dominion tried to stop it. They failed. It took them. All of them. Mara kept her voice calm. What took them? The child stared past her, toward something none of them could see. The thing in the dark. Before Mara could ask more, the ship's comm channel burst open with alarms. Captain Holt, the bridge officer shouted. Sensors are spiking. Something massive is approaching the station. Mara stood fast. What kind of something? We don't know. We can't see it, only its effect. Space is bending. Cass looked through the station window, and froze. Captain, something's out there. The stars outside twisted, like space itself rippled. A shape moved in the distortion. Not metal. Not flesh. Not anything familiar. Just a shadow that swallowed light, size impossible to measure. It watched them. It felt like an eye without a face. A presence without a sound. Mara grabbed the child and lifted him with care. Everyone back to the ship, she ordered. Now! The shadow stretched. The walls trembled. And the horizon reach blared a single warning. Unknown anomaly. Impact imminent. The vanishing had found them. The horizon reach raced away from the dead outpost with emergency thrusters burning white-hot. Inside the ship, alarms flashed red, and the deck shook as if space itself tried to hold them in place. Captain Mara Holt stood firm, gripping the railing while the strange shadow behind them twisted the stars like a giant hand stirring water. Distance, she called out. Lieutenant Cass stared at his screen, panic in his voice. It's still there, Captain. It's not chasing. It's just moving with us. Like it's watching, Rhea said quietly. A chill passed through the bridge. The Varex child sat near the command chair, wrapped in a thermal blanket, eyes wide and lost. He kept whispering the same words under his breath. They woke it, they woke it. Mara knelt beside him. Listen to me. You're safe now. You're on a human ship. The child looked up. No one is safe. Not anymore. Mara opened her mouth to ask more, but Cass interrupted. Captain. The anomaly faded. The shadow is gone from sensors. Mara stood at once. Good. Set full speed away from the dead zone. And prepare a data relay. I want all information from the station loaded into the central archive. The bridge calmed slightly, though fear stayed like fog no one could clear. Hours later, in the main analysis room, the senior staff sat around a table while the lights hummed quietly. The holoscreens showed fragments of files recovered from the outpost, broken video logs, corrupted research notes, strange math formulas, and incomplete Varex signatures. Rhea tapped the screen. This symbol keeps appearing across multiple files. Mara leaned closer. The symbol looked like a circle cut open from one side, with a line diving straight into it. "What is it?" she asked. The Varex child, who had stayed silent until now, whispered, "Void engine." Cass frowned. "A what?" The child looked at the table as he spoke. It was a Varex weapon. A prototype from long ago. They said it would bend space. Turn space into a trap. They used it to stop their enemies. Used it on who? Mara asked. The child did not answer. His silence was the answer. Rhea expanded a set of Varex command logs. Only a few words were readable. Containment breach, spatial tearing, evacuation ordered, entity released, repeat, entity released. Cass swallowed hard. So, the Varex built something they couldn't control? Mara crossed her arms. This doesn't look like a weapon anymore. It looks like a disaster. Rhea nodded. Whatever the void engine became, it's not acting like any machine. Machines don't erase people. The room grew still. Then Mara turned to the child again. You said they woke it. Who? The child slowly raised his eyes. The Dominion. My people. They broke the old engine. They tried to recover its power. But something else woke up inside the crack they made. Cass rubbed his face. So they poked at a weapon that should have stayed buried? The child nodded. And it learned. It grows when it takes things. It becomes bigger. Faster. Smarter. Rhea's voice dropped. How large is it now? I don't know, the child said. But it consumed 12 Varex worlds in less than 1 month. Cass froze. 12 worlds? That's impossible, Rhea whispered. No, the child said quietly. It is hunger. They replayed more outpost logs. One file showed a strange kind of energy reading, a wave pattern that did not match any known form. Another file displayed a half-completed report, the anomaly does not attack physically. Reality near it becomes unstable. Structures stretch. Matter folds. Living beings are not killed but erased as if removed from the timeline. Mara felt her skin crawl. It erases, she said softly. Not kills. Yes, Rhea confirmed. No heat damage. No radiation burns. No bodies. Just, missing. Cass tapped a graph. Look here. Every time the anomaly consumes something with mass or gravity, it leaves behind these energy scars. Like the ones we saw in the station. Mara stared at the glowing lines on the graph. Scars. Leftovers of a reality it touched. Rhea continued, and the more mass it consumes, the higher this reading becomes. It's evolving. Strengthening. Cass turned pale. Captain, what if it's heading somewhere? What if it has a direction? Mara already knew the answer. Plot the last known Varex system it consumed and extend a trajectory. Cass worked fast. A long line appeared across the holomap, through Varex space, across empty regions, and then. Cass gasped. Captain. The line pointed straight toward human territory. Mara's chest tightened. Which colony is closest on that path? Cass highlighted the location. The Red Wind Colony. Population, 6 million. The room went silent. The Varex child trembled. It will take them. All of them. Mara placed a firm hand on the table. Not while I am alive. Mara gathered the command staff. We have 2 tasks. 1. Warn Red Wind Colony. 2. Understand what we're dealing with. We need more information about the Void Engine. Rhea raised a point. Captain, the logs mention something else, a Varex defector. A scientist who fled with classified data months ago. According to rumors, the Dominion tried to hunt him. Some say he escaped into human space. Mara narrowed her eyes. If he knows anything about controlling or stopping this thing, we need him. Cass checked the encrypted file. His last known location was a trade station near the border. Mara stood tall. Set course. We find the defector. The crew moved quickly. Fear gave them speed. As the ship prepared for jump, the Varrics child sat alone near the viewport, staring at the stars. Mara approached him and kneeled so she could meet his eyes. "What's your name?" she asked gently. He hesitated. "Cyril." "Well, Cyril, you're with us now. And we don't run from darkness. Humans fight it." He looked at her with confusion. "Why?" "The Dominion tried to stop it and failed. You think you can do better?" Mara gave a small, hard smile. The kind only humans make when they're scared but stubborn. "Yes," she said. "Because when all others run, we don't." Cyril stared at her for a moment. Then he whispered, "I hope your people are different." "We are," Mara said. "You'll see." The ship engines roared as the Horizon Reach jumped into faster-than-light travel. Behind them, far across the stars, something in the dark shifted direction, following a path no living being could see. A quiet hunger. Growing. Learning. Moving toward human space. And time was running out. The Horizon Reach shot through faster-than-light space, its engines pushing harder than ever before. The ship shook, but Captain Mara Holt did not slow down. She stood on the bridge with her arms crossed, eyes fixed on the star map of their route. A thin red line stretched across the holoscreen, straight toward Redwind Colony. Every second mattered. "Any update?" Mara asked without turning. Lieutenant Cass wiped sweat from his forehead. "Based on the last readings from Varric space, the anomaly is accelerating." "How fast?" Mara asked. Cass hesitated. "Fast enough to reach Redwind in 4 days." 4 days. For 6 million human lives. Mara's jaw clenched. "Then we reach them first." The Varric's child, Cyril, sat near a console, hugging his knees. He looked smaller than before, like fear kept pushing him inward. Rhea, the engineer, sat beside him. "You said this thing learns?" she asked gently. Cyril nodded without lifting his head. "It grows with each world. Each ship. Each person. And the Varric's Dominion couldn't slow it at all." Cyril shook his head. "They tried to build a cage of energy around it. But it broke the cage. Then it turned the cage into more of itself." Cass winced. "So everything thrown at it becomes fuel." Mara stepped closer. "Cyril, why didn't your people warn the galaxy?" Cyril looked up with shaking eyes. "The Dominion is proud. They don't ask for help. They don't admit mistakes. They thought they could solve it alone. And they died for it," Cass muttered. Cyril hugged himself tighter. "Yes." Mara knelt so she could look him in the eyes. "We're not like that. If we can't fight it alone, we'll get help. If help fails, we adapt. Humans survive by changing." Cyril whispered, "I hope so." Mara nodded and stood. "Rest. You are safe here." But even she was not completely sure. 2 hours later, the alarms blared again. Rhea ran into the bridge. "Captain, we're seeing something strange in the energy readings." "What kind of strange?" Mara asked. "The anomaly is creating ghosts." Cass spun in his chair. "Ghosts?" Rhea pointed at the holoscreen. A strange shimmer flickered in front of them. Shapes. Not fully real. Not fully fake. Echoes, Rhea explained. Remnants of places already consumed. The outpost logs weren't wrong. It's leaving after images of things it took. The crew stared at the flicker. For a moment, they saw the shape of a Varric's tower, tall and proud. Then it vanished. Then appeared again. Then dissolved into a rain of light. Cyril gasped. Those were my people's cities. Mara's stomach tightened. Is the anomaly projecting memories? Rhea shook her head. Not memories. Imprints. Like the structure of space remembers what it once held. Cass shivered. So the places it eats, echo forever? The flicker grew stronger. Now several shapes appeared. An empty Varex street. A child's toy floating. A large warship broken in half. A screaming face, silent but frozen. Cyril turned away in pain. Mara placed a hand on his shoulder. Look away if you need. No one should see their home like this. Then the lights dimmed. The ship drifted. Cass checked his board. Captain, sensors are acting strange. Something is interfering. The flickering ghosts grew brighter. Closer. One of them, the broken Varex warship, drifted toward the hull. But it's not real, right? Cass said with a nervous laugh. It can't touch us. Rhea's eyes widened. I'm not so sure about that. The ghost ship brushed the horizon reach, and the entire vessel shuddered with a violent crack. Shields weakened. Rhea shouted. It touched us. The echo touched us. Cyril yelled, the Force can make unreal things real for a moment. Mara grabbed the railing. Full power. Push us through. The engines roared. The flickers swarmed. A ghost city. A ghost ship. A ghost mountain. A ghost of something long dead, an alien creature Mara didn't recognize. Each time the echoes passed through the hull, the ship shook and the lights flickered wildly. Cass cried out, we can't take much more. Mara shouted, then take this ship to limits it's never seen. Now! Rhea slammed the throttle controls. The engine core glowed bright blue. The ship burst forward with a surge that made the whole crew lean back. One by one, the echoes fell away behind them, fading into the dark of space. Finally, the reading stabilized. Rhea collapsed into her seat. That was dangerous. Cass laughed weakly. Dangerous is our new normal, I think. Mara looked at the screen. The ghosts were gone, but the warning was clear. The anomaly was coming. And it could reach far ahead of itself. Later, Mara called for a private meeting in the strategy chamber. Cass, Rhea, and Cyril sat around the glowing round table. We need a plan, Mara began. Running won't stop this thing. And if Red Wind falls, the next colony is only weeks away. Rhea tapped the screen. There is a chance, small, but real, that the thing has a center. A core. Cass looked up. A weak spot? Maybe, Rhea said. The readings show a pattern. Each time it consumes something, the energy movement comes from a single point. Mara leaned forward. So it's not infinite. It has a heart. Cyril shook his head slowly. The Dominion tried to reach the center. They failed. Cass pointed at the map. But they didn't have humans. Mara nodded. We need to get close enough to study the center, without being eaten. Rhea sighed. That part is tricky. Mara turned to Cyril. The Varex defector, would he know more about the center? Cyril nodded. Yes. He was one of the scientists who built the engine. Cass raised a brow. So he helped create this monster. Cyril whispered, yes. And he regrets it. Mara stood. Good. Regret is useful. It means he knows the danger. She pointed at the star map. We find him. We learn everything he knows. And then. She touched the red line toward Red Wind. We save our people. The horizon reach jumped again, engines blazing. Behind them, far across the empty stars, the anomaly pulsed. For a moment, space twisted and bent around it. A faint outline of a world it had eaten flickered, then vanished. Then it moved. Fast. Silent. Hungry. Its path toward human space did not change. It only grew clearer. The horizon reach slowed as it approached the border of the Varex dead zone. The stars here looked sick, dim, stretched, twisted like reflections on broken glass. Space itself felt wrong, as if something had taken a bite out of reality. Captain Mara Holt stood at the front of the bridge, watching the dead region fill the main screen. What once had been proud Varex territory was now a field of drifting ruins, shattered worlds, and silent ships. Cass whispered, "I don't like this place, Captain." "No one does," Mara answered. "Stay sharp." Cyril, the young Varex child, trembled beside the console. His home, his people, everything he knew, gone somewhere ahead of them. Rhea checked the sensors. "I'm reading faint structures. No life. No power. Just dust and echoes." Mara nodded. "Good. That means the creature hasn't doubled back." But none of them fully believed that. As the ship moved deeper inside the dead zone, the scale of destruction grew clearer. Entire Varex fortresses floated silently, torn in half. Massive battleships drifted with holes melted into their hulls. Some ships were twisted like they had been made of soft clay. Others were stretched into thin strands of metal, as if pulled across 1,000 miles. Cass stared in horror. How did something even do this? Cyril whispered, "It doesn't attack like a living thing. It changes the space around the object. The object follows the new shape. That is why everything looks wrong." Rhea shook her head. "This is beyond tech. This is beyond anything physics can explain." Mara kept her voice steady. "Focus. We're close to the Varex command station. That's where the defector worked. That's where we'll find the logs." Cass looked at her. "Captain, what if the anomaly left traps? Echoes? More ghosts?" Mara answered without hesitation. "Then we push through them." Half an hour later, the Varex Central Station appeared in the distance. A massive structure, once a symbol of pride, now floated silently. Its rings were broken, its long towers were cracked. Its lights were dead. The station looked like a giant skeleton in space. "This place is cursed," Cass whispered. "Prepare docking," Mara ordered. The docking clamps extended, though they creaked with stress. The artificial gravity inside the station flickered on and off, like a broken heartbeat. As the team stepped inside, the air smelled stale, burnt metal mixed with something cold and empty. The halls were huge, but their silence made them feel even bigger. "Stay close," Mara said. The group moved through the station with their lights cutting through the dark. Everywhere they looked, the metal walls had the same scars they saw on the outpost, long, smooth marks like fingers of reality had dragged across them. Cyril touched a wall lightly. This was the first place the engine cracked. Rhea frowned. "Why this place?" "Because this is where they tested it," Cyril answered. Mara nodded. "Then this is where we find our answers." They reached the main control chamber, a wide circular hall filled with dead screens, broken consoles, and floating debris. A large holotable sat in the center, cracked but still recognizable. Around it were empty Varex command seats, some still showing the last recorded positions of their users. Cass swallowed hard. "Where are their bodies?" Cyril pointed at the ceiling with shaking fingers. "Gone. Erased like the others." Rhea activated a small power cell and fed it into the table. The holotable flickered once, twice, then slowly came alive with light. "Captain," she said softly. "We have something." A broken file appeared in the air. Then another. Then 15 more. Mara leaned in. "Play the earliest one." The file opened, showing a Varex scientist, tall, tired, and clearly stressed. The background was filled with flashing alarms. Day 1. Void engine test begins. Early signs show promising space bend control. Another file. Day 5. Small rift formed. Not stable. But inside the rift, something moves. Another file. Day 12. The rift is growing. No device should do this. We tried feeding energy to stabilize the tear. It responded. Another. This time the scientist looked terrified. Day 15. The engine is no longer a machine. The tear, it has a form. A will. It learns. When we tried to shut it down, it changed us. The hollow paused as the scientist screamed. The video broke. Cyril looked away. Mara didn't. She forced the next file open. In this one, the scientist whispered. We used it long ago. On early human scouts. The humans survived only because the tear was weak then. We didn't understand. Now it is strong. Too strong. And there is no cage left that can stop it. Cass froze. Wait. They used this thing on humans? A century ago? Cyril nodded with shame. A small scout team. Your people never knew what happened. Mara exhaled slowly. Humans survived once. Maybe we can survive again. The next file played automatically. This time, the scientist looked beaten, leaning against a console. If anyone finds this, run. Or destroy everything you have to keep it from growing. It follows gravity. It follows mass. It follows life. The screen ended. A deep rumble shook the chamber. Cass grabbed a railing. What was that? Rhea checked her scanner. Not the creature. Something else. Something inside the station. Another rumble, closer this time. Mara drew her weapon. Form up. Cyril, behind me. Out of the dark corner of the chamber, a shadow moved. But this shadow wasn't the anomaly, it had shape, mass. A figure stepped forward. Limbs shaky. Eyes wild. A Varex. The defector. Cyril gasped. Dr. Valron, you're alive. The scientist stumbled closer, weak but standing. His voice was rough. Alive, but only just. Mara stepped forward. We came for you. Valron laughed bitterly. Then you came for danger. My knowledge is the curse that killed my people. Mara shook her head. Your knowledge is how we stop it. Valron stared at her for a long moment. Then he whispered. No. There is no stopping it. Only understanding how to die slower. Mara raised her chin. Humans don't die slow. We fight. Valron blinked, confused by her certainty. Then the station shook again, harder, louder. The lights flickered. Rhea checked her scanner, and her face turned pale. Captain, the anomaly isn't far anymore. The station groaned as if something pressed against its walls from the outside. Valron whispered, voice trembling. It heard us. It found us. The Varex command station shook as if an invisible hand squeezed its metal frame. Walls groaned. Lights dimmed. Dust fell from the cracked ceiling. Every alarm still working wailed in one long, painful scream. Captain Mara Holt grabbed Cyril and pulled him close. We're leaving. Now. Dr. Valron, weak and trembling, pointed toward the exit. Your ship. We must reach it. If the anomaly enters the station, we won't even die. We will just vanish. Cass helped Valron walk while Rhea checked her scanner again. Her face went white. Captain, the anomaly isn't fully here, but it's close enough to warp space. It could reach through the station walls at any moment. Move! Mara ordered. The group ran through the dark corridors, boots slamming against the metal floor. The station lurched, tilting sideways, throwing Cass into a wall. Mara caught him and pushed him forward. The hall lights flickered, switching between bright white and deep red. Strange shapes formed in the air, ghosts like the ones outside earlier, but sharper this time. More real. A Varex soldier appeared in the hallway ahead, half-transparent, screaming without sound. His form stretched horribly, then broke apart in a rain of bright particles that hit the floor and vanished. Cyril covered his face. It's recreating the last moments. Please, keep moving. They sprinted. Every turn brought new nightmares, echoes of Varex engineers trying to escape, shattered ships floating through walls, and flashes of the void engine tearing open. Cass muttered, voice shaking, "This place is hell." "Hell is quiet compared to this," Mara answered. "Run." When they reached the docking bay, the floor had begun to distort. Lines warped like melted paint. Some panels lifted and stretched upward, as if pulled by unseen strings. Rhea pointed. "The Anomaly is trying to rewrite the station's structure." The docking door opened, but the walkway to the horizon reach had twisted, bent sideways, then snapped in half. Only the magnetic grapple kept the ship from drifting away. Mara didn't hesitate. Jumped the gap. Cass looked down at the floating debris below. "That's a 10-meter fall into broken metal." "Jump," Mara repeated. She grabbed Cyril first. "Hold on tight." She took 3 steps back, ran, and leaped across the broken walkway. For a moment she flew over the void, weightless. She hit the edge of the ship's docking hatch, slamming one knee down hard. Cyril clung to her suit, shaking. Cass leaped next, yelling the whole way. He made it, barely, scraping his hands and landing on his stomach. Rhea jumped and smashed into Cass, knocking them both over. Only Valron stood on the other side, trembling. I cannot," he whispered. "My legs." He wasn't lying. His thin body shook like a leaf in a storm. "Valron!" Mara shouted. "Jump now. Or there will be no body left to save." Behind Valron, the hallway twisted like bending rubber. A loud, deep crack echoed through the station. Valron nodded once. He stepped back, gathered what little strength he had, and ran. His jump was weak. Too short. He began to fall. Mara grabbed his arm just in time. For one terrifying moment Valron dangled between life and oblivion, his feet kicking in empty air. Mara gritted her teeth and pulled with everything she had. Rhea rushed to help, grabbing Valron's other arm. Together, they hauled him into the ship. The docking bay behind them warped like paper crumpling. The station screamed like a living creature breaking apart. Mara slammed the inner door shut. "Bridge. Disconnect now." "Aye, Captain," came the reply. With a violent jolt, the horizon reach pulled away just as the station behind them folded in half like soft clay. Its outer ring snapped inward. Towers collapsed. A wave of bright distortion burst outward where the anomaly touched its core. The station vanished. Completely. No explosion. No debris. Just gone. Cyril cried softly, watching his people's last stronghold disappear. Dr. Valron lowered his head. "So ends the Dominion." Mara placed a hand on his shoulder. "Not yet. Not while we fight." Minutes later, in the strategy room, Valron sat with the crew, breathing heavily. Mara placed water in front of him and waited until he drank. Then she spoke clearly. "Tell us everything. How do we stop this thing?" Valron rubbed his temples. "You do not stop it. You slow it. Delay it. Redirect it." Cass frowned. "And how do we do that?" Valron lifted his eyes. "With something only humans have." Rhea raised a brow. "And what is that?" "Your counterwave technology," Valron replied. "Your scientists never finished it. But it is the only thing I have ever seen that can destabilize the anomaly's growth pattern. If you fire a large enough counterwave into the core, it may reset the space around it." Cass blinked. "Reset space? Like undoing damage?" Valron nodded. "Yes. A forced reset. But it is dangerous. If the counterwave overloads, the ship firing it will be inside the blast. Mara answered instantly. We fire it anyway. Everyone turned toward her. Captain, Cass said softly, that's a death mission. Mara stood firm. 6 million people will die if we don't. We take the shot. Valron looked at her with strange respect. This is why humans survived the first encounter. Not luck. Will. Cyril whispered, the anomaly is coming. It's following us. And we'll meet it head-on, Mara replied. The crew worked fast. The counterwave device, a huge cylinder with glowing bands, was rolled into the main launch bay. Human engineers connected it to the ship's reactor, pushing the limits of every system. Rhea wiped sweat from her forehead. If this overloads wrong, we'll tear our own ship apart. Mara said, then we get it right. Cass looked at the rising charge level. Captain, to fire this, we'll have to hold position against the anomaly. We can do that, Mara said. Suddenly the whole ship trembled. Lights flickered. Cyril gasped. It's here. The alarms blared across the ship. Unknown anomaly approaching. Space distortion rising. Impact in 30 seconds. Mara took the captain's chair and tightened her grip. Humans, she said, stand with me. Cass, Rhea, the crew, all of them looked at her and nodded. Even Valron, weak and broken, stood tall for a moment. Target the anomaly's center, Mara ordered. And charge the counterwave to full. The ship turned toward the twisting darkness outside. A storm of warped stars. A hole in reality. A hunger that knew no mercy. Mara stared at it without blinking. Let it come, she whispered. The Horizon Reach charged its engines, its weapons, its counterwave, everything humanity had left. And the void answered. The void outside the Horizon Reach twisted like a living storm. Stars bent and stretched into thin threads of light. Space folded and unfolded in strange, sickening ways. The anomaly, an invisible hunger, moved closer, swallowing all brightness around it. Captain Mara Holt stood on the bridge, her eyes locked on the swirling darkness. Her voice was steady, louder than the alarms screaming across the ship. Counterwave charge at 80%, Cass reported, hands shaking on the controls. It's rising as fast as it can. Rhea stared at her engineering screen, sweat running down her neck. The anomaly is pushing against us. It's bending the space around the ship. We're holding, but barely. Cyril, gripping the back of Mara's chair, whispered, it feels us. It knows we are here. Dr. Valron leaned heavily against the console. His breath was weak, but his eyes were bright with fear and focus. It always moves toward life. Toward gravity. Toward anything real. Mara looked at him. Then it will come straight to us. It already is, Valron said. The anomaly reached toward them. Not with hands. Not with beams. But with distortion. A wave of warped space slammed into the ship like a silent explosion. The hull screamed. Lights flickered. Panels ripped from the ceiling. Cass yelled, shields dropping to 50%. Rhea gripped her console tight. If it bends us any further, we'll be torn into pieces. But Mara stayed calm. Hold position. We need full charge. Another wave hit them. The deck jumped under their feet. Mara kept her stance, refusing to fall. Cyril stumbled and Mara caught him. Stay behind me. He nodded quickly, face pale and frightened. Valron pointed at the screen. Look, its center. The core is forming. A faint shape, round, dark, and pulsing, appeared in the middle of the distortion. It looked like a black sun wrapped in twisting shadows. Cass gasped. That thing, that's the heart. Rhea whispered, the real center. The weak point. The ship rattled again. This time harder. Mara shouted, Cass. Target the core. Cass locked onto the dark sphere. Target locked. Rhea. Mara called. How long until the counterwave is ready? Rhea stared at her panel. Her voice broke. We need 1 more minute. We don't have 1 minute. Cass yelled as the ship shook violently. It's pulling us in. The anomaly grew brighter and darker at the same time, like a star collapsing into itself. Mara breathed slowly. Then we last 1 more minute. The anomaly changed shape. Long thin arms of warped space stretched outward, reaching like claws. They touched broken Varex debris first. The debris disappeared instantly, no flames, no noise, no dust. Just gone. One arm reached for the horizon reach. Brace! Mara yelled. The claw struck the hull. Reality bent. The ship groaned like a living creature in pain. Metal stretched. Walls shook. Sparks flew everywhere. Cass shouted, hull breach detected. Deck 4. Rhea frantically tapped commands. Sealing, okay. Breach contained. Valron stared in horror. It's absorbing our energy. It knows we have something dangerous. Mara spoke calmly, Cass. When the counterwave is ready, fire without waiting for orders. Do you understand? Cass looked at her. Not as an officer. As a human facing death. Yes, Captain. The anomaly's core pulsed again. This time it flared with a painful white flash that filled the entire bridge. Cyril screamed and covered his eyes. Valron fell to one knee. Rhea grabbed the console to stay upright. Cass stumbled into his chair. Mara stood tall, forcing her eyes open though the brightness cut like knives. Still here, she whispered. We're still here. The brightness faded. Cass checked the timer. 20 seconds, Captain. The anomaly's arms shrank back, then shot forward again, faster and sharper than before. One of them hit the ship's bow, twisting metal like warm clay. Rhea shouted, our front hull is bending. We can't hold much longer. Cass yelled, 10 seconds. Cyril cried, it's coming inside. It's coming inside. Valron shouted, it's trying to erase us before you fire. Mara grabbed the railing and screamed louder than the alarms. Hold. The crew held their ground. Even as the ship shook. Even as the lights died. Even as the anomaly filled the entire screen. Cass's voice cut through the chaos. Counterwave is charged. Fire. Mara roared. Cass slammed the button. The horizon reach released the counterwave. A blinding burst of pure space energy shot out from the ship, slamming into the anomaly's core. For a moment, nothing happened. Then everything happened at once. The screen exploded with light. The anomaly wailed, not with sound, but with a feeling, like space itself was crying. The core cracked. The twisted arms folded inward. The dark sphere trembled. Rhea screamed over the noise, the wave is overloading the reactor. Keep firing. Mara commanded. I can't. The counterwave is tearing our systems apart. Keep firing. And they did. The wave grew stronger. Brighter. Hotter. It tore through the distortion. It split the core. Each crack glowed white, spreading like fire across paper. Valron whispered, tears in his eyes, it's working, you humans mad fools, it's working. Cass yelled, Captain. The anomaly is collapsing. The core shrank. Smaller. Smaller. Until a final burst of white light swallowed everything. The ship. The anomaly. The stars. Everything. Silence. Darkness. Then, slowly, the lights inside the horizon reach returned. Air systems hummed. Screens flickered back to life. The ship shook off the last pieces of distortion like dust. Cass gasped. We're alive. Captain, we're alive. Rhea laughed and cried at the same time. It worked. The counterwave worked. Cyril collapsed into Mara's arms, shaking but safe. Valron looked at the stars outside. The dead zone was still damaged, still broken, but the terrible twisting darkness was gone. Mara exhaled a long, shaking breath. Report. Cass scanned the space. Anomaly is gone. Fully gone. Rhea smiled weakly. The void is empty again. Cyril whispered, "You did it. Humans saved what my people couldn't." Valron nodded slowly. A new line has been drawn in the stars. One the anomaly cannot cross. Mara looked out at the calm, recovering space. "No," she said softly. "A line that says humanity stands when others fall." The Horizon Reach turned its course toward home. To warn the colonies. To rebuild. To prepare. And somewhere, across human space, people would soon tell the story. When an empire vanished, humanity did not run. They fought the dark. And they won.